Okay, so for today, I wanted to just spice things up a bit and do a bit of a trailer breakdown for the new Zack Snyder's Justice League, or the first Zack Snyder's Justice League official trailer, because we are going to get another one probably a week prior to release. As with streaming platform, this is kind of the common thing to hype up or to ramp up the excitement to the maximum. But let's get down into it. Now, to just start things up with the first frame of Superman and just the audio of the trailer in general, the trailer's music was kind of outstanding. It just signals to you that this is something completely different, even when you compare it to the trailers that were under the hands of Zack Snyder for his original Justice League project back in 2016 and 2017. But yes, what is kind of different here is that the vocal cords of Superman are emphasized in a way where showcasing that he has awakened the mother boxes, and of course you have Lex Luthor's monologue under it as well, signaling that the two movies actually connect and they go from one into the other, that being BVS, and then Justice League picks it up. And to clear up a bit of a confusion, this is the destroyed Gotham Harbor, and it's showcasing how the sound wave travels and wakes up the mother boxes. And the next frame that is really interesting to me is that this kind of pantheon thing where the Amazonians keep the mother box. Now, of course, we know that Steppenwolf is going to boom tube into that very place to steal the mother box. But I feel like that while this place is crumbling, or why the Amazonians are actually trying to destroy this place, is to trap Steppenwolf in it, or to just kill him in general, because they know how dangerous he actually is. And in the theatrical cut, he actually escapes from this. And I don't even remember, or I don't even know that this guarding place of the mother box is supposed to be destroyed or not. But I know that he escapes, and here I think it's gonna be the same thing, just a bit more amped up in a way. And you of course have this kind of now iconic line of Bruce explaining his vision of the nightmare that he saw in BVS, kind of like a premonition. And we also have the invading forces of Darkseid seen in this amazing wide shot of him. And what is interesting to note here is that at the end of the corridor, the end of the invasion forces, I believe that is supposed to be not Apocalypse, but actually Earth. As you can see, skyscrapers in it, so Darkseid hasn't really transformed Earth into Apocalypse yet, as of course it wouldn't really make sense in Apocalypse to be skyscrapers in general. So I feel like that this is the invading force that Bruce is referring to in his monologue, and this is actually the Knightmare, not Apocalypse yet. And in the next frame, you can see what Zack has alluded to in his fandom panel, that Steppenwolf's armor is moving and absorbing energy, projectiles, and stuff like that, but it's also moving with him. And what I absolutely love about this shot is that Zack's attention to detail is again unparalleled, as Steppenwolf is communicating with Darkseid through the sod. And of course, when you confront your lord, you of course take off your helmet, and this is exactly what is happening here. And you can see that the armor is moving away from his chest, again signaling that this armor is a moving living thing of its own. And we can just see how barbarous and amazing this design actually is. I cannot get over the fact of these spikes and just that we actually get his original design, because this is so utterly amazing and so outlandish and so alien that it just ramps up the whole threat of this film in general. But again, another shot of something that we have already seen before is Bruce Wayne talking to Arthur Curry about needing warriors. And what I absolutely love about this shot, and what I believe that this shot was actually a take two, if you will, because when Zack shot this movie alongside the compromised version of the 2017 Justice League, he always shot the original Terrio script, or as close to the original Chris Terrio script that he could. And I believe that is from that. As you can see, the quiet desperation in Ben Affleck's eyes, and I feel like that this is gonna be another killer performance from the guy, as he is just such an amazing actor, and we should see more of his Batman in the future. And also another interesting shot is that we see Cyborg in the Knightmare. Now, just basing off this image from the context that is in, this is definitely the Knightmare stuff. But what is interesting to note here is that originally Cyborg was supposed to be torn in half at the end of this movie, and he would be, of course, torn in half in the Knightmare stuff as well. But what is interesting here, he's not torn in half. So what I believe happened prior to this scene is that they actually stole the mother box and they rebuilt Cyborg from the mother box itself. As of course, this is how they created the cosmic treadmill, and this is how they sent Barry back to warn Bruce. And why I believe that this theory could be correct is that in a later scene we see Cyborg but a hoodie on, and I feel like that kind of signals that yes, at that point of time he's kind of torn apart or like torn in half, and this is what he is after he has been rebuilt by the mother box. And again, some beautiful Chris Terrio dialogue. I cannot get over the fact that we are going to get another Chris Terrio Zack Snyder film, because that guy is just utterly amazing when it comes to just writing dialogue in general. And one of the more touching parts of this trailer, as Superman is lowered into the Genesis chamber, we see Pa Kent's picture and we hear Pa Kent's monologue altered in a bit from Man of Steel. And what I absolutely love about this is that they have kind of repurposed it so that it doesn't just necessarily fit Clark Kent or Superman, but it goes for all the members of the Justice League. As even in this movie, every character has their own path, their own struggles that they have to face, and therefore this monologue goes for all of them, all of the Justice League, not just for Superman in general. But of course, this is a Superman story true and true, but this goes for all of them as well. And we see more of Batman in action with the gloves that Alfred has constructed from the designs of Wonder Woman. So this is going to be really interesting to see what Batman does with these things. And then again, what is interesting to note here is that of course we are going to get First Flight or Flight 2.0 with Superman. But if you remember in the First Flight in Man of Steel, we can see the rocks rising. But here you can see him actually controlling the flow of the rocks and just signaling that he has kind of mastered his power when it comes to his power level, as of course in the previous movie they could barely defeat Doomsday with him, but now you can see that he has achieved a new level of mastery. He has returned with the elixir, if you will, if you're talking about the hero's journey in general. And of course, this editing just pops into Cyborg, as Cyborg is also going to have his kind of first flight scene, as he is the heart of the movie, and he's going to have his character arc in a way that kind of Superman had in Man of Steel. Like, we of course have the War Machine, which I still don't know how it fits into the whole narrative of Zack Snyder's Justice League, as I feel like that is a Knightmare scene, as if you look in the background, you can actually see I believe that it is a wreckage of the Green Lantern ships, which are in the Knightmare sequence as well, but we will see because Batman has his batsuit on, but I feel like that looks like the BVS batsuit, and we know that his original batsuit that he has in Justice League was somehow destroyed, and therefore he has to retort back to the BVS one, but he has his cape on, so who knows what is happening there. And another really interesting shot is when Cyborg enters the mother box, and you can see Flash behind him as well, so we don't really know what that shot is going to be, as we know that Cyborg is going to have his own kind of nightmare, or at this point he's going to enter the mother box and have a vision of his parents and him having a happy life in general. But in the shot you can see Barry behind him, so this could potentially mean that this is the second time Barry comes back and he can save the League, or we don't really know. We will see. And we see more of this Barry badassery, as I like to call it, because we still don't actually know what is the Flash going to do in this movie, other than of course we know that he's going to time travel in a way, because I feel like that this movie is going to touch on his powers in a way where he doesn't really know how it works, but for the end of the movie he's going to figure out and just be confident in himself. And we still don't really know how he uses that power, and there are a lot of question marks over that, as Zack hasn't really alluded to that part. We only know that Barry is supposedly going to save the League at the end, but we still don't really know how. And there are still huge question marks about it, which I cannot wait to be answered for on March 18th. And we see more of the dialogue between Bruce and Diana, and I absolutely love, and again, that Chris Terrio dialogue. They said that the Age of Heroes would never come again. It will. It has to. There is so much context and substance in it, but it is so short and so straight to the point. I absolutely love Chris Terrio as a writer. Amazing. But maybe the best part for me in this trailer was this Knightmare sequence. This whole seeing the Joker and the Batman just talking, and cannot help but feel like that this was a kind of a meta-narrative aimed at Warner Brothers, this we live in a society. And as you can see here in this frame, you can see Cyborg in the background with his hoodie on or with something that is covering his body, and I feel like that this is the part where he's still torn in half before they get the mother box. As of course we know that Joker is going to steal a mother box to create the cosmic treadmill, but I feel like that this scene takes place before that, before they steal the mother box, and Joker and of course Batman is going to have a bit of discussion or dialogue about who Batman is. Just seeing this Joker just gives me chills, as yes, this is an adaptation of the Joker that really makes even video game characters proud, and you can clearly tell how much effort was put into this post-apocalyptic version of Joker with his swab vest on, with his machine gun, with his makeup, with his whole look. It looks utterly incredible. This was my kind of trailer breakdown, whatever you want to call it. And don't forget, guys, that in not even 2 days' time, tomorrow we are going to have the first official soundtrack or piece of music composed by Junkie XL, of course, available, which is going to be titled The Crew at War Power, if I'm correct. Now, that is the soundtrack that we have heard a snippet of back during the fandom, and be sure to give it a listen and be sure to share it on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. Just be sure to tweet about it and talk about it and give some love to Tom, because he really deserves it, because this soundtrack, it really seems like something really special. But that is all I had for today. Thank you for watching this video. Please leave a like if you have enjoyed it and subscribe for more, and I will see you in the next one. And until then, remember to keep it insightful.